Ah, your eyes finally open. Mother shall be pleased. Back in the wilds, of course. I am Morrigan, lest you have forgotten, and I have just bandaged your wounds. You are welcome, by the way. How does your memory fare? Do you remember Mother's rescue? Mother managed to save you and your friend, though 'twas a close call. What is important is that you both live. The man who was to respond to your signal quit the field. The Darkspawn won your battle. Those he abandoned were massacred. Your friend, he is not taking it well. The suspicious dim-witted one who was with you before, yes. He is outside by the fire. Mother asked to see you when you awoke. I do not mind. Take your time. We are safe, for the moment. Mother's magic keeps the Darkspawn away. Once you leave, 'tis uncertain what will happen. The Horde has moved on, so you might avoid it. I wonder at that myself, but she tells me nothing. Perhaps you were the only ones she could reach. I would have rescued your king. A king would be worth a much higher ransom than you. Who says I would ransom for coin? Gold has its uses, I suppose, but power buys far more. She turned into a giant bird and plucked the two of you from atop the tower, one in each talon. If you do not believe that tale, then I suggest you ask Mother yourself. She may even tell you. Only stragglers that are long gone. You would not want to see what is happening in that valley now. Are you sure you want me to describe it? I had a good view of the battlefield. 'Tis a grisly scene. There are bodies everywhere, and Darkspawn swarm them, feeding, I think. They also look for survivors and drag them back down beneath the ground. I cannot say why. I do not know who this Loghain even is. Perhaps ask Mother of it. I agree. 'Tis time you speak with Mother, then be on your way.
I shall do it.
You must speak to Mother, then be gone. You have an army of Darkspawn to avoid, and 'twould be best to get an early start. You were welcome. Though Mother did most of the work, I am no healer. I will stay and make something to eat.
As you say.
See, here is your fellow Grey Warden. You worry too much, young man.
You're alive. I thought you were dead for sure. Oh, this doesn't seem real. If it weren't for Morrigan's mother, we'd be dead on top of that tower.
Do not talk about me as if I am not present, lad.
I didn't mean... But what do we call you? You've never told us your name?
Names are pretty, but useless. The chastened folk call me Flemeth. I suppose it will do.
The Flemeth? From the legends? Daveth was right. You're the Witch of the Wilds, aren't you?
And what does that mean? I know a bit of magic, and it has served you both well, has it not? If you know what is good for you, I suppose you should. Well, we cannot have all the Grey Wardens dying at once, can we? Someone has to deal with these dark spawn. It has always been the Grey Warden's duty to unite the lands against the blight. Or did that change when I wasn't looking?
That doesn't make any sense. Why would he do it?
Now that is a good question. Men's hearts hold shadows darker than any tainted creature. Perhaps he believes the blight is an army he can outmaneuver. Perhaps he does not see that the evil behind it is the true threat.
The Archdemon.
It is said that long ago, the Maker sent the old gods of the ancient Tevinter Imperium to slumber in prisons deep beneath the surface. An Archdemon is an old god awakened and tainted by darkspawn. Believe that or not, history says it's a fearsome and immortal thing, and only fools ignore history.
The throne? He's the Queen's father. Still, I can't see how he'll get away with murder.
You speak as if he would be the first king to gain his throne that way. Grow up, boy.
If Al-Eamon knew what he did, he would never stand for it. The Landsmeet would never stand for it. There would be civil war. I suppose. Al-Eamon wasn't at Ostagar. He still has all his men. And he was Kaelin's uncle. I know him. He's a good man, respected in the Landsmeet. Of course, we could go to Redcliffe and appeal to him for help.
You have more at your disposal than merely old friends.
Of course! The treaties! Grey Wardens can demand aid from dwarves, elves, mages, and other places. They're obligated to help us during a blight.
I may be old, but dwarves, elves, mages, this Arl-Eamon, and who knows what else. This sounds like an army to me.
So can we do this? Go to Redcliffe and these other places and build an army?
So you are set then, ready to be Grey Wardens. Now that you mention it, I do have one more thing to offer.
The stew is bubbling, Mother dear. Shall we have 2 guests for the eve, or none?
The Grey Wardens are leaving shortly, girl. And you will be joining them.
Such a shame. What?
You heard me, girl. The last time I looked, you had ears. Ha ha! Her magic will be useful. Even better, she knows the wilds and how to get past the Horde.
Have I no say in this?
You have been itching to get out of the wilds for years. Here is your chance. As for you, Wardens, consider this repayment for your lives. Pardon me, but I had the impression that you two needed assistance, whatever the form.
Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but won't this add to our problems? Out of the wilds, she's an apostate.
If you do not wish help from us illegal mages, young man, perhaps I should have left you on that tower.
Point taken.
Mother, this is not how I wanted this. I'm not even ready.
You must be ready. Alone, these two must unite Ferelden against the Darkspawn. They need you, Morrigan. Without you, they will surely fail, and all will perish under the blight. Even I.
I understand.
And you, Wardens. Do you understand? I give you that which I value above all in this world. I do this because you must succeed.
Allow me to get my things, if you please. I am at your disposal, Grey Wardens. I suggest a village north of the wilds as our first destination. 'Tis not far, and you will find much you need there. Or, if you prefer, I shall simply be your silent guide. The choice is yours. From the way he glares, I imagine that answer is clear.
Do you really want to take her along because her mother says so? I guess you're right. The Grey Wardens have always taken allies where they could find them.
I am so pleased to have your approval. I may have answers. Ask. From time to time, I have been to the village I mentioned, watched its people, and pondered what curious beings they are. On occasion, I purchased goods from the village merchants. There I spoke with men a little. There they stared and knew me as an outsider. Mother wishes for me to expand the horizon of my experience beyond the wilds. Even she was not born here. 'Tis a small place of little consequence called Lothering. No more than a stop along your Imperial Highway where travelers purchase goods from local farms and smiths. I would go more often were it not for the town's chantry. It makes the village particularly intolerant and unpleasant for a stranger such as me.
A chantry? And they never in all this time thought that maybe you were a witch?
Of course they have. They even called out their Templars once. They found nothing. 'Twas she who raised me, and thus I consider her my mother, born from her womb or not. 'Tis what you meant, yes? Mother was alone long before I came, and will be so long after I am dead. Such is her choice, though I suspect she would claim the choice was made for her. I know a few spells, though I am nowhere near as powerful as Mother. I have also studied history and your Grey Warden treaties.
Can you cook?
I can cook, yes.
Right, my cooking will kill us. That's all I meant.
I also know at least 15 different poisons that grow right here in this marsh. Not that I would suggest 'tis at all related to cooking. The real question is how we are going to get your friend past the Darkspawn, is it not?
That's true. We can sense the Darkspawn. Conversely, they can sense us. We should be able to sneak past smaller groups, but larger ones, or particularly intelligent Darkspawn, will always detect us.
Mother has given me something else for them to smell instead as we pass by. 'Tis important we head out of the wilds, however, not farther in. They come from underground, like an eruption. They broke through deep within the forest, and that is where they will be most concentrated. Farewell, Mother. Do not forget the stew on the fire. I would hate to return to a burned-down hut.
Bah! 'Tis far more likely you will return to see this entire area, along with my hut, swallowed up by the blight.
All I meant was...
Yes, I know. Do try to have fun, dear. Have you not left yet? I hope you are not hanging about for some stew. Yes, you should. You have a whole lot of darkspawn to get past before you sleep.
And I expect each of you to supply these men. We must rebuild what was lost at Ostagar, and quickly. There are those who would take advantage of our weakened state if we let them. We must defeat this Darkspawn incursion, but we must do so sensibly and without hesitation.
Your lordship, if I might speak. You have declared yourself Queen Honora's regent, and claim we must unite under your banner for our own good. But what of the army lost at Ostagar? Your withdrawal was most... fortuitous.
Everything I have done has been to secure Ferelden's independence. I have not shirked my duty to the throne, and neither will any of you!
The Bannorn will not bow to you simply because you demand it.
Understand this. I will brook no threat to this nation from you or anyone.
Bantegan, please!
Your Majesty, your father risks civil war. If Eamon were here...
Bantegan, my father is doing what is best.
Did he also do what was best for your husband, Your Majesty?
Wake up, gentlemen. More travelers to attend to. I'd guess that fellow is the leader.
They don't look much like them others, you know. Maybe we should just let these ones pass.
Nonsense. Greetings, travelers.
Highwaymen, preying on those fleeing the Darkspawn, I suppose.
They are fools to get in our way. I say, teach them a lesson.
Now, is that any way to greet someone? A simple 10 silvers, and you're free to move on. You came up with that a little too easily, if I do say so myself.
You did just say so yourself.
Shut up. I mean, there's more where that came from.
Oh, good thinking you. How about 20? The toll is now 20 silvers. Cough it up or else. That's true. It's not sporting of us to jack up the price like that.
You're so right. I feel ashamed. I believe I must drown my shame in at least 20 silvers worth of ale.
Did he say he's a Grey Warden? Them ones killed the king.
Traitors to Ferelden, I hear. Tern Logain put quite a bounty on any who are found. What do you say, gents? With that kind of bounty, we can retire. Let's be heroes to the kingdom.
Yeah!
Exhaust our supply.
More the fools! All right, we surrender. We're just trying to get by before the darkspawn get us all. Right. I guess so. I'm sorry. Well, what could I tell you? We aren't even from these parts. It's packed full. The band took his men north with Tern Logain, so there's no one looking out for it except a few Templars at the Chantry. Well, I was just trying to feed my family, you know? Everyone's saying how the Grey Wardens betrayed the king during the Darkspawn fight. Got him and themselves killed. Tern Logain pulled out just in time. First thing he's doing as regent is putting a bounty on Grey Wardens. Couple, maybe. A group of wounded ash warriors came by earlier. Got right out of their way. Well, then let me go! There aren't any. Just the Templars, and they'll execute me. Yes, of course. The coins we collected are right here. Just over 100 silvers. The rest is in the chests we brought. I swear. What, are you joking, right? I could never be a soldier. Bless you. The Darkspawn can have this place.
Well, there it is. Lothering. Pretty as a painting.
Ah, so you have finally decided to rejoin us, have you? Falling on your blade in grief seemed like too much trouble, I take it.
Is my being upset so hard to understand? Have you never lost someone important to you? Just what would you do if your mother died?
Before or after I stopped laughing.
Right, very creepy. Forget I asked.
But how can I? He is right there, speaking, eyes wide like those of a brainless calf.
Oh, I get it. This is the part where we're shocked to discover how you've never had a friend your entire life.
I can be friendly when I desire to. Alas, desiring to be more intelligent does not make it so.
Anyway, I thought we should talk about where we intend to go first. But we need to decide what our general plan is for afterwards, don't we? I think what Flemeth suggested is the best idea. These treaties, have you looked at them? There are three main groups that we have treaties for. The Dalish Elves, the Dwarves of Orzammar, and the Circle of Magi. I also still think that Arleman is our best bet for help. We might even want to go to him first. Well, I don't know where we should go. I'll do whatever you decide.
Now that is unsurprising.
Arleman is a good man, but I don't know for sure he's where we should go. I'm not going to fight about it. I can give you directions, if you like. If we head eastward, towards the Brazilian forest, we should hear word of one of the clans that wanders that area. Hopefully they will still be there. We would need to speak to their king in Orzammar. That means heading west into the Frostback Mountains, which won't be easy. That will be at their tower on Lake Carlenhard to the north. We'll be looking for the first enchanter, whoever that is. He'll be at Castle Redcliffe, in the far western part of Ferelden, next to the mountain passes. If he isn't there, someone will be able to tell us where he is. If he isn't out in the field with his army, he's probably going to be at the palace in Denerim. We can go to Denerim, but somehow I suspect that they're not going to let us just walk around. Only a suspicion, of course. Then you have a plan. Fair enough. Let's head into the village whenever you're ready.
What will happen to us now that the king is dead?
So let's talk about your mother for a moment.
I'd rather talk about your mother.
Well, there's nothing to talk about. And besides, isn't your mother a scary witch who lives in the middle of a forest? Much more interesting.
To you, perhaps. You would find the moss growing upon a stone interesting.
You know what's more interesting than that? Apostates, mages outside of the tower. That's illegal, you know.
You did not read that in a book somewhere, did you?
Here.
I hope the small letters did not strain you overmuch.
Oh, we could not talk about your mother. That works for me.
What do you wish of me?
What do you need? Ask away. Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you? Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills. You're telling me I was banished to the kitchens to scour the pots more times than I can count. And that's a lot. I can count pretty high. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky. I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens, is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have. He was a good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking. What do you need? Ask away. Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact. Well, if you're going to go and pay attention to the facts, then fine. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Archdemon wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough. Archdemon eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me. Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming. And raised my dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Caelan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.